What is up, everyone? It's Mike
and Charlotte,
and we're over here in Mescal, Arizona at the Mescal Movie Set, and this is the location where they filmed the movie Tombstone. So we're gonna get some cool interviews from the historians that are here, talk about all the movies and everything else here. It is warm here in Arizona. It is about 85 already, and it's already like 9:30, so it is cooking right now. Let's get on this walk. I can't wait to show you guys, and let's go check it out. Let's go. So the Mescal Movie Set is one of the most recognizable Western cinematic towns of the big screen. The iconic set was home to Tombstone, The Quick and the Dead, and over 100 other films. Notable actors such as Clint Eastwood from Josie Wales, Steve McQueen, Tom Horn, Paul Newman from The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean, Lee Marvin, Monte Walsh were filmed walking in the dusty boardwalks. The Mescal set was also used for episodes of Bonanza, Gunsmoke, The Magnificent Seven, Little House on the Prairie. Fans will also remember her as the town of Sweetwater in The Young Riders. The Mescal Movie Set has been here since 1950, so I did have it right. All right, guys, we're gonna walk in here and take a look, and I'll show you around.
This is the Redemption Saloon, which is in The Quick and the Dead.
All right, so let's go to the Redemption Saloon. We'll take the look at this. We'll walk up the stairs here, and let's walk right in through these doors. Hello. So here we have, again, because of the 30th anniversary, we got the poster of Tombstone. We got Landry here, jersey from the original Jersey Lily. And of course, always playing the movie Tombstone. How's it going?
How are you guys? We
got the awesome bartender here. What's your name, sir?
Mr. Vanderspiegel.
Mr. Vanderspiegel. And what?
Pops for short.
Okay, how you doing, Pops?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. And check out the antlers, guys. And all this cool Western stuff.
8x10 framed piece of the movie history, $500.
$500, and you get a piece of Tombstone. That's pretty cool. Check out these awesome shirts, guys. Tombstone 30th anniversary from 1993 to 2023. 30th anniversary. Awesome. Cool. All right, guys. We're gonna go to our next location. Let's get out of here. Again, we were one of the first ones here, and now everybody's starting to come out here. So we're gonna just keep walking around on this awesome movie set. How you doing?
Good, how are you guys?
Hi.
Howdy.
So we got the marshal's office. That's that right there. How you doing?
All right, good morning.
Morning.
Welcome to the scale.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
So let's go ahead into the Buffalo Head Saloon right now, all right? Let's go check it out. So the first thing I'm here with, this is the billiards room, and this is, in the movie, this is where Morgan gets shot through the window. So, pan around, and as you can see, I've tried to line up the shot here as much as I can, but it would be about right here where he got shot, and then he'd be standing like kind of like right in the front there. If you guys could just picture that, that'd be kind of, that's kind of cool. But yeah, this is the billiard room. And then over here in the movie Tombstone, when Kurt Russell was walking through the saloon, it would be right here, and he'd come right through here, and then Billy Bob Thornton's character was like right over here where this gentleman's at. And so when Johnny Tyler confronted Wyatt Earp, okay, and that's where kind of right, exactly right up in there, and then right there where you can kind of see him walking in. So again, that's back towards where he's sitting at right there. So as he's walking through the door, which again was right there. So he'd walk in, and then boom, there's the scene right there. So just trying to line up the shots here. Here we are. This is the Farro Table from the movie Tombstone. And we're gonna have Joe here talk a little bit about the scene and a little bit about Faro. Go ahead, Joe.
How you doing, everybody? My name is Sarsaparilla Joe here with Go to the West Repertory Company and Mescal Movie Set. And this here is the same spot where the table was, where they had the slapping scene with Kurt Russell portraying Wyatt Earp with Billy Bob Thornton. You know, you're sitting in my chair, and so they were going back and forth with that. So that was here with that.
Sitting in my seat.
so that's what they were doing here. And then also in the scene later on where they had Doc Holliday over here that was twirling the cup, and then Bill Paxton was standing over here. He was the banker. Kurt Russell, being Wyatt Earp, was the dealer. And then you had the case manager or coffin manager, and that was Doc Holliday. So they were actually working that day when Curly Bill Brocious and Johnny Ringo had came in. So that was the first time they really met face to face. And so that's when they were doing that thing about Ike Clanton was coming over here about the law dogs, you know, and such. And then Wyatt goes ahead to try and appease them a little bit, does a little moving a bet around just to make it, you know, to where he could be able to win. So winner for the Queen, $500. And then Bill Paxton went ahead and did that payout for it. And then that's when, you know, Powers Booth, who was portraying Johnny Ringo, goes, "Shut up, Ike." You know, so, and then they walked around there, and then Johnny Behan and then Delaney, she was standing there, and then he threw the money in the air, all drinks are on me. That all happened right here. Now, the way this goes is, in the beginning, Wyatt Earp comes in through the doors over there. That was the doors for the Oriental Saloon. And then the way this is movie magic, they have like the little barrier in between here. That bar can actually move around back and forth to accommodate production crew and stuff like that. So every scene that was going to be on this way, that bar would be back out of the way so the production crew can be there and be able to start filming. And then when they're filming like Milt Joyce behind the bar, then these tables would be moved out of the way. The production crew would be sitting right here with their cameras and all that, filming in that direction for all those scenes. So not everything is shot in order the way it happens. It could be shot in reverse order or whatever the case might be, but it's just a matter of the actors knowing what their lines are and what that scene is going to be from the script to be able to do all this.
Cool.
And then so stunt work and all that kind of stuff would be going on, you know, right here. They would have certain pads in certain areas if someone was taking a fall or whatever. So like when Virgil got shot in the rain, that happened right out over, that actually happened like a couple of days ago kind of thing. But then he came back in, and that's when he had walked in, and then he collapsed right over there by the edge of the bar. So right about where that carpet is where the bar was, and then you got the back bar right there. And there was only, you know, not too wide of a distance for somebody to be walking back and forth in to serve the drinks. Very similar to bars that are set up today. And then, so the game of Faro, you don't really see that too much in movies. I'm really glad that the movie Tombstone had went ahead and done that, because Faro was actually the most popular game in the 19th century. As opposed to poker. But you hear about poker more often because of the fact that, well, that's where a lot of the gunfights are. When you're playing Faro, you had to turn your weapons in, and then you can go ahead and go to a Farro table to play. But in poker, oh, and then you're playing against the house. You're not playing against other punters or a player. Whereas in poker, it's just an open table. They got the cards over there. It's one-on-one or two-on, you know, however many people are sitting around the table playing against each other, and fights would ensue. They're generally armed at that point, and so that's where you get a lot of the gunfights, and that's what made it into Hollywood mostly, and a lot of other movies and such. But I'm really glad that the movie Tombstone kept true to form and was doing with the Farro tables as opposed to everybody playing poker all the time. Now, did people play poker? Yeah, they did. But Faro was the most popular game in the 19th century.
And just out of curiosity, what type of bets would be coming down here?
Well, in this particular case, I have a sample here of like the house rules for a table. So like in this case here, $1 check. So each of these, what we call poker chips today, these are actually called checks back in the Old West for Faro. And so this table would have a 10 punter limit, meaning 10 players. And then, so minimum of 2 checks per bet, and then maximum of 10 checks per bet. But you can bet multiple times throughout the board and on the layout here. And and then there's just a few other rules here and such like that. And so as the punters are playing, you know, they know like this table here is going to be $1 per check. Another table might be another value, like this one here says $2. Turn it around that way, sorry. So $2, another one's $5, and you know, just a few samples here. This is a $100 table for number 7, so lucky 7.
Okay, all right. If you're a fan of the Tombstone movie, or just a fan of Westerns, or just a fan of film, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We'll do more of this stuff. The more likes, the more comments, all that stuff. It definitely encourages me to get out there and do a lot more. All right, so right here
Is the grocery, which is the Woodhead and Gay Groceries in Tombstone.
Okay. So here you can see Behan, where Woodhead Gays and Groceries is. And then again, let me just pan out.
So early in the movie, when the Earps first get into town, they're standing over here. This would have been Meyer Brothers Clothiers. The building was blown up during the Quick and the Dead, but this is where they're talking to Doc Holliday and Sheriff Behan. A shot rings out. The camera cuts over to this building. The Cowboy Cafe, as we have it decorated, would have been the Crystal Palace in the movie. And through those doors, spilling out into the street, would have been Turkey Creek and Texas Jack with a couple other men. And right out in front here is where Turkey Creek would have shot that man down for crawfishing a bet and calling him a liar. Our trading post. In the movie Tombstone, you don't actually see the trading post because there's a adobe facade, which would have been the entrance to the OK Corral. And that's where the replica of the famous OK Corral sign would have been hanging out towards the street. The Western Bank down there, the brick building, the brick facade building, that would have been Sheriff Behan's office. And that's where, when the Earps first arrive in town, you see him standing out there smoking a cigar, and he walks across the street. Now, the big draw for Tombstone, or one, I should say one, because there are several, our hotel. This was the Grand Hotel in the movie. The Earps would have arrived and they would have pulled their horse or stopped their covered wagon right here in front of this hitching post. Over here to the right of the steps is where Wyatt gets off his horse, squats down, stretches his legs, and that's where he and Sheriff Behan meet for the first time in the movie. You see the Franklin Ranch, the yellow building down there. That would have been the Dragoon Saloon. Now, most people don't recognize that until you mention during the Vendetta ride sequence, there's a quick snapshot of 2 cowboys hanging by the neck, and Wyatt's wrapping the red sash around the boot. That would have been done just on this side of that building. And then a scene that hardly anybody can forget is when Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp meet for the last time in the Glenwood Springs Sanatorium. That was done in this tall brown building on the bottom floor. Inside of there, that would have been that white room where Doc is talking with Father Feeney, and then Wyatt comes in and they play cards for the last time. And then I'll leave you with one more. Ma Bell's boarding house. Another quotable scene. In front of that orange door, or on either side of that orange door, would have been Curly Bill and Johnny Ringo, and that is where Wyatt pulls his wagon up in front of that porch and says, "I want you to know it's over." Do you remember what Curly Bill says in response?
Well, bye.
Yeah, that's the well-bye scene. That's where that would have been filmed. During the Vendetta ride, there's a scene where Doc and Turkey Creek kick open the door to a bedroom, and there's a cowboy laying out on the bed, spread out with 2 young ladies, probably homeschooling or Bible studying. That was done in that next to last window. That's the room where that would have been done. Over here, these last 2 windows, that's the bedroom where Doc Holliday was laying in the sick bed when he was being treated by the doctor. Kate would have been standing right outside of the last window smoking a cigarette while he's talking to the doctor.
Guys, so here we are at the Mercantile,
Which was Andy's club and saloon in the movie Tombstone.
and you can see all the production and stuff like that on how that was there. So what do we have here, sir?
Okay, this here is the cigar shop. In the movie Tombstone, it was Key West Cigar Shop. If you remember in the movie, it had a big ship's figurehead sticking out of the front of it, like off a big boat. Something unusual that you would see in the Western. And then it's right, of course, right next to the opium tent where Curly Bill comes out feeling capital and starts shooting up the town before he kills Marshal Fred White. Of course, Powers Booth played the part of Curly Bill, and Harry Carey Jr. was the marshal for Fred White. After he shoots Fred White. Of course, Wyatt Earp comes out, hits him over the head, takes the town starts gathering around. Let's hang him, let's hang him. And Wyatt's like, there'll be no hanging here, he's going to jail. At that point, all the cowboys gather around, and Wyatt looks at him and says, you might get me, but before you do, and he puts his gun right to Ike Clanton's forehead, he goes, I'll turn your head into a canoe. And at that point, Virgil comes running out with a double barrel. That's enough, and everybody disperses, and they go back across the way to the billiard hall, and they take him to jail. And of course, our tonsorial in the movie was the Arizona Brewery, which didn't have a big part in the movie, but it was next to the opium tent, so it had a few shots in there.
So what do we have here, Charla?
So your marshal's office was the Rockaway Oyster House on Tombstone.
All right. So again, folks, here it is at the Rockaway Oyster House. And here it is. This is where the horse went through the window. We're gonna go inside here in a sec, but it actually came through this window right here. Training wise, the horse freaked out during production. It was a one-take scene, and the horse freaked out during production because there was people inside, and they actually left it in. They went with it, and so when you see it in the movie where the horse is freaking out, that's actually really happened. It was not planned, and the horse really did freak out. So we're gonna go inside here real quick, folks. Again, guys, here we are inside, and this is where Wyatt Earp would have busted in through the window here. And again, the horse would have been right here, kind of doing its thing, freaking out, getting wild up, and then continue on with the movie.
And this wall wasn't the jail, and the wall wasn't here. It was right.
Oh, okay.
This was for argument. Hi, sir. Hi. Have you seen the movie Tombstone? A couple times. This is actually where the horse was.
So here's one of the jail cells. We got some wanted posters. Bat Masterson, cash reward. So what is this, Charla?
This is the Flies Photo Gallery.
It is under construction. They are doing some renovation. And this is where Wyatt Earp's wife, Josephine, was taking some of those elegant pictures in the movie.
This building would have been C.S. Fly's photography studio for the movie. During the OK Corral shootout, when Ike Clanton begs to be let out of the corral, he leaves the corral, he goes around the front, he goes in, Sheriff Johnny Behan is already in there, Josephine Marcus is having her picture taken. When Ike goes in, he takes Johnny Behan's gun away from him, starts shooting out through these windows on the side. The windows for the movie were made out of candy glass or sugar glass so that they wouldn't hurt anybody. The plan was for one window pane to be shot out. Unfortunately, it was shot, but it shattered the entire window pane. They ended up having to replace it multiple times. So when you watch the movie, while the window was still intact at the beginning, note the grid work that's on it. It's a little broken and a little ratty because it had to be replaced so many different times from being shot out.
So not only is Dawn very knowledgeable on the C.S. Fly photography store, but she also knows a lot about
OK Corral.
About the OK Corral. So Dawn, take it away. What do you got for me?
All right. Well, the Earps did what we call the walk down. They would have gotten about to the Mercantile on the main street here, which would have been Allen Street for the movie. There's a side street over here. That would be 4th Street coming down to Fremont, which is the street behind you. On that street is where C.S. Fly's and the OK Corral are both located. The Earps came in. By that point, Doc already has the shotgun. That had been exchanged on the walk down. Virgil does not want to have a gunfight. He'll do anything he can to prevent it. Unfortunately, you've got 9 young men very high-spirited. A couple horses are in the corral as well. Now the town of Tombstone will tell you that in about 30 seconds and 30 shots. The 30 seconds, my understanding is they tried very hard when they were filming to stick to that 30 seconds. The final cut of the movie, it's closer to a minute, maybe a little over, because they did some dramatic pauses and some up-close shots. Unfortunately, the 30 shots in real life became about 1,130 shots during filming. Filming took 3 days out here. They were filming here June, July, and August of '93, right over the heat of the summer and monsoon season. So all of that's going on. But when they start shooting and men start going down, the horses are rearing, people are moving around, there's a lot of smoke and noise and commotion. That is the point where Ike Clanton, Stephen Lang, had been dunking his head in the rain barrel. He's probably the only one that was happy on the set that day. He begs Wyatt to let him out. Wyatt tells him to get out or get a gun. He gets out and he goes into CS Flies. So all of that's going on in here. Once it's over and the ladies start showing up, there's a boardwalk behind you. That's where the ladies start showing up. The Chinese come up to see what all the noise and commotion was about. There's a lot of excitement going on, and poof, just like that, it's over. Things are settled, sort of, and things get very quiet and the wounded go out. Unfortunately, 3 of the cowboys were killed in that 30-second gunfight, and their funeral and the procession goes past the Earp houses, which you pass closer to the front of the set.
All right, and here it is, Virgils House, right here behind me, and this is where Virgil Earp would have stayed at. All right, guys, look, check this out. This is the Wyatt Earp house from Tombstone. Isn't that awesome? Look, check that out. Okay, I'm gonna get out of the picture so you guys can see this, but there it is, the Wyatt Earp house. What an awesome sight.
Well, welcome to Wyatt's house, right behind me here. This is right there on those chairs. This is where Wyatt and Morgan were sitting after Virgil had been shot. You'd have seen the funeral procession come by. Boot Hill would have been right back over here where the parking lot is today. In the movie, you saw them come into Tombstone, they passed Boot Hill. You saw a famous marker. Here lies Lester Moore, 4 slugs from a 44. No less, no more. That would all been right through here. So as they entered town, they came through and right up and around.
Okay, what we have here is the livery, which you did not see in the movie Tombstone because it was wearing a special costume. It had a facade built out front that made it look like the Birdcage Theater in Tombstone, one of the iconic buildings there. Now, originally, the manuscript writer, Kevin Jarre, was going to use Shefflin Hall, which is also an iconic Tombstone building. But when he visited the town, he fell in love with Birdcage Theater, in spite of the fact that it was built 2 years after the Earps came to town. So, and the facade was set up a little bit so that the actors could get in from the sides out of the screen view and then exit, and it looked just like the Birdcage, including the date over the door, 1881, 2 years after the Earps came to town. Also in this area, you can see the Wyatt house on the right and Virgil's house on the left. This is the road they came into town. The Boot Hill Cemetery is behind Virgil's house down there. So they came in, circled up here, went to the hotel. Memorable scenes from those houses. Virgil's is when Dana Delaney is there warning them of something afoot. Shadow comes across the window. Allie thinks it's Virgil coming home. She opens the door and in comes the cowboy firing away. At Wyatt's house, memorable scene is Morgan and Wyatt sitting on the porch talking about this is not what Morgan expected as the wagon goes by with the 3 dead cowboys from the OK Corral.
And Sonny, I see that you have an instrument there. What is that?
This is the mandolin.
And love to hear you play something.
All right, let's see if I can.
We had a great time, met a lot of great people. I hope you enjoyed this video. What did you think of this, Charla?
It was really awesome to see, like to actually come and see where the actual filming and production of the movie Tombstone, all the hard work and the detail that they put into filming this. It's, you know, to see where, all those special scenes, in which there's a lot of special scenes in this movie, to see where Kurt Russell walked out and Val Kilmer, and they actually walked these grounds and put in their hard work and literally sweat, because it was during hot summer months filming, doing this awesome movie. I mean, I'm so glad that we came out and are able to experience this 30-year anniversary.
And everybody who helped us out and that you saw on video were all volunteers. All of them did this for the love and the passion that they have for the movies and for Tombstone. So make sure you guys give them a thumbs up, give them a thanks, because again, these guys are in the hot sun. They're, you know, we heard it a few times. Hey, you guys need water? Yeah, we need water here. They're out here cooking. They're baking. So
and they're in full costume, so
yeah.
it's hot for them. So yeah, we greatly appreciate, you know, if you're out there watching this video, we thank you a lot.
yeah, so even if you don't thumbs up the video for me, at least thumbs up for the volunteers. How's that? Fair enough? Okay, cool. All right, guys, until next time, make sure you guys click like and subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you guys on the next video, okay?
Bye.
The Mescal Set was also used for episodes of Bonanza, Gunsmoke, The Magnificent, I can't pronounce.